Item number 1 is your consent agenda. Item 2 is the ordinance amending section 25-71, the garbage fees.
All right, any questions? We got Patrick here. He'll talk in the work in a regular session. If you have any questions about item number 2, we can address it at this time with Mr. Patrick Johnson.
Mr. President.
Mr. Jim Wright.
We're saying go to $32 on this thing. Could we have a compromise at 29?
Council, the reason for the request to go from 27 to the $5 increase to 32 is we're trying to, today we currently operate at a deficit, so that the revenues that are collected and the expenses that go out, we are not matching there. So we're trying to get it to a point where we're operating so that the general fund is not subsidizing the garbage collection and disposal side. That's the reason why we're going to was asking for the $5 increase. Obviously, too, the cost of things have gone up as well. And another key thing to note, while this gets us even with operating expenses, it does not address capital investments. So when we build a new cell or we buy a new garbage truck, things of that nature, that the $5 does not cover those expenses. This is strictly on an annual operating budget. So the idea was to kind of make that balance so that the annual operating, the revenues and expenses match, but at the same time, there still would be a deficit there when we do capital projects.
Okay, I guess $5 ain't we're gonna catch it. We'll get it for $2 or $5 either. So
$2.
Either one's gonna be happy.
No. Any other question?
I understand.
Thank you, Mr. Jim Wright.
We got new equipment too. I think that's a good thing for the people in Montgomery. We got a bunch of new equipment that's really showing well on the streets.
Yes.
And equipment being done right. You don't have a whole lot of breakdowns or whatever that you used to have breakdowns. So.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President.
Ms. Beard.
Yeah, Mr. Dunson, is that will it be going into any salaries or just operating expenses?
Well, obviously part of operating expenses is salaries.
Okay.
So obviously it helps to cover all the salaries, the fuel, the repairs to equipment. All those are covered within the general fund operating budgets.
Okay. So
yes, it would go to all of those.
Okay.
But the other thing to keep in mind, as we're subsidizing that means by us bringing those level, that means that money that was going towards subsidizing, the sanitation department, then can go to other needs that are here within the city. So I think that's an important thing. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know Charlie knows this also. Sanitation operated at a deficit for years. I know in 03 when I was elected, it was probably about $3.5 million deficit coming in.
Oh, yeah,
so it's only grown with the services in the city being grown. So, I think it's time. So we'll talk about it and vote it at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Dunson.
Thank you.
Item 2, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning property at 2656 Old Summer Road from an R75S district to a B4Q qualified.
Mr. Riley.
Mr. President, I think they'll be here during regular session.
Right, good to have a grocery store in District 4.
Yes, we're looking for a grocery store, restricted to a grocery store only, so I'm excited about it.
All right, Calhoun Foods back in business.
There you go, Greg.
Thank you. Item 3.
Item 4, review of Infusion Lounge, 3905 Troy Highway.
Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. President, they'll be in for regular meeting.
Okay.
Item 5, ordinance establishing curfew regulations for downtown entertainment district.
All right, Ms. Johnson.
All right, Mr. President, I'd like to open it up for discussion. We can discuss it now during work session or do it during the council meeting.
Okay. I have 75 people signed up to speak on item 5 in the regular council meeting. So we'll be here for a while.
We need to talk about closing that thing down.
Yeah.
We did it before. We had to close it down 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But Mr. President,
it's too dangerous.
I guess my issue is how many of these incidents are actually juveniles instead of young adults, and I think that I'm reading it that says that the police officers have the ability if they're standing out, but I thought Alabama was a no ID state, so if I'm just standing there, do I have to give a police officer my ID if I'm not doing anything of violation? So how would they be able to tell if I am a juvenile if I don't have to show my ID or identify myself if I'm not doing anything? Can you, where are we on that?
I think you'd be breaking the law if we set a curfew.
Yeah, Mr. President, I mean, I think the enforcement issue, as Mr. Mitchell points out, is our issue there. I also want to make sure, and I don't know where we're at on the Experience Montgomery tourism side of this, but you're sending a message about what's going on in our downtown. I was down there last weekend. There was a lot of flashing lights, which already makes downtown feel a little bit different than it used to. I know that we have some issues down there, but I'm not seeing that people are getting arrested or getting in trouble for exhibition driving, fighting in downtown. So I don't know why being under the age of 18 is something that all of a sudden we're going to start being able to enforce on Fridays and Saturday nights. The other thing I think it's important to note, especially coming up on this weekend, is that we're about to have a pretty large gathering in downtown for the fireworks this weekend. And I think we have to take all these things in consideration before we just react to some incidents that have happened in downtown.
Okay. Rand, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, theoretically, no. You can't just approach anybody and ask for their license. If they have had reasons of suspicion or probable cause, if they have some reason to believe this person is violating the law, then yes, they can approach and ask for identification. But just simply to ascertain whether or not they're 18 or 19, no.
Yeah, and that's the idea behind the Councilor Mitchell for that piece. That would be if they are doing something out of the ordinary that would pertain to them needing to be ID'd before moving forward with any kind of punitive issues, which if they get in a fight, and of course they're gonna get, detained, and if they get detained, they find out they're underage, then there goes some of the check block. So, check one, you've been downtown, you're underage, you passed the curfew, and you got in a fight, assault, whatever it is, but it's building up from there. But I'm not necessarily asking for them to walk around and just start carding people.
And Councilor, my second question, I'm reading, is saying they'll be detained and only released to a parent. So what happens if that parent don't answer? Where do we take those individuals that we are detaining if a parent don't answer the phone, if you do have a juvenile outside and parent won't answer or tell you that you can keep them because I can't do anything with them?
I would assume, without knowing, I would assume that you couldn't take them to the city jail. They'd have to go to the Montgomery County Youth Detention Facility out on Air Base Boulevard.
What did he say? I didn't hear.
He said youth facility.
And I don't, the youth facility, because I deal with it on the truancy end, the youth facility are not taking kids on truancy. So we have to make sure that I have no problem. We have to make sure that we are having that conversation with the county before, because if we're gonna do it, we're gonna have to have somewhere to take them. And my second question is, have we had a talk with municipal court? Is this gonna be a municipal or is it gonna be family court? Because this could be a contributing charge on the parent instead of, so I guess that's my question. What charge would this fall up under? Have we talked to municipal court and seen, will they be willing to prosecute these parents on a contributing charge would usually come into family court?
I've not been, pardon me, I've not been subject to any conversations regarding the ordinance at all. I think those are valid concerns, however.
Say it again, Rand.
I said I think those are valid concerns.
They are.
Again, I've not been subject to any conversations about the ordinance, so I really don't know what's been said before, or the full array of issues that are raised by it. But these concerns that have been expressed here are valid concerns that need to be explored and make sure we're in good stead before we proceed.
Mr. President.
Mr. Grimes?
I agree with Mr. Mitchell. He is kind of with youth, his what he does with the school system. He's kind of the expert. I guess you are the expert, Councilor Mitchell. But I think in the short run, I agree with Charlie that I'd like to see the open container stopped and they have to go and drink it inside. And I think that would cut some of this out. I don't not say long term. I think we just need to get a handle on it right now.
Mr. President.
Ms. Beard?
Yes, I know we've seen a couple of incidences that we've had some things going on downtown. Can somebody speak to Chief Hall, what time were y'all called down there what time did we have some kind of fights going on downtown? What time are we looking at? What time of the morning? We've had a couple, I know I've seen 3.
Yeah, when you're talking about what has happened or what is happening, like if we look at this last weekend went very well for us downtown.
Right.
Okay, we had units down there, they responded to things as needed. On other weekends, any kind of criminal activity or anything out of the ordinary can happen in a split second. We get called and we respond.
Right.
And so one thing to be aware of is that the trouble that we have seen when, like, you might have a large group of people who aren't there to go to the businesses or they're there to cause trouble, they usually show up around 11:30.
Okay, I just need to know what time. Are we looking at 2:30 in the morning? Are we looking at midnight? What time are we looking at?
It's usually around 11:30, and when we start dealing with it, we usually get it wrapped up within the next, depending on the nature of how large the crowd is, we usually get it pretty much dissipated, at least the last weekend and the last 2 weekends, within like 40 minutes.
And what were your procedures? How did y'all dissipate that?
What you do is you basically start talking to the people involved. You start, if they're acting in a manner that is just, loitering or might be dangerous to themselves or others, you move them along. You deal with the problem that arises or that you see. If I see somebody breaking the law, then I'm going to, of course, detain them and charge them. If I see somebody, let's say, committing a traffic violation, then they're going to get charged with that. We
Right.
write plenty of tickets with it.
Right, I'm just speaking of the last 3 fights that we were seeing, and so that was my concern. So you're saying that those happen around 11:30, 12 o'clock at night?
That has been the time that we've been seeing it. That's where we've seen it. But at the...
In the same place, maybe?
No, it's usually, you could say it's all within that little district area, but we respond on it and we handle it when we get it.
Mr. President, I got a question.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Riley?
Okay, I understand, Chief, I understand that we're focusing on downtown, but we got problems all over with the same issues at multiple places. So, I'm just like Councilor Mitchell on this. We got to look at everybody's district. We're just focusing on one, and I understand this is our business district, but we got concerned citizens as well in our district that's concerned about what's going on in clubs and underage people at clubs and hanging out in the parking lot and driving fast and doing all this as well. We got to look at everything. I'm just speaking because I know how this district, I ride, and I see a lot, because I like to drive and ride and just observe, and it's out there.
And we answer calls in all of our districts. We are paying attention with that because one of the things we're doing with our exhibition driving detail is we're using that all over the city. Okay, and one thing to be aware of, if I concentrate some forces, let's say at 11:30 or 11 o'clock downtown, that's not mean they're going to be there necessarily all night. I might just utilize them during the time of the hot spot, and then I move them further out in the city. And vice versa. There might be a thing where it's quiet over there, so I don't put them there. I move them. I move them basically as the night develops based on the need for them. And that's what we try to do. One thing I've made very clear in my tenure here is we are the police department for the whole city, and we're here to serve the whole city. We go where the crime is.
And I do want to make a statement. On that. You are absolutely right, Councilor Riley. I initially had this a couple of years ago for a citywide curfew, and it was shot down pretty good. And plus, we were thinking about enforcement. And even when I came about it this time, I had all entertainment districts. We still considered enforcement, and I thought that there should be something that should be discussed through those councils as well. So I just focused on mine. So just to clarify that piece. Chief, I know we spoke earlier, and throughout some time, I've also spoke with the Economic Development Director and the Chamber, and several business owners for downtown. And councilors, what I came up with was, for sure, and I just want to put this on record right now. Well, when we get in the council meeting, I'll put it on record. But I would like to change the scooter hours from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. They'll lock down, and I know there's a way that Robert could get in touch with the company, and we'll shut them down at 8 p.m. We'll minimize them from being all over the city to localize to the downtown area. And the open container, I'm in agreement, and so are a lot of business owners downtown about suspending the open container right now for about 60 days. So we can, the idea now is, I know I spoke with Chief and he was very sure that we could do the enforcement, because I know there was a question that was raised about the enforcement if we did pass this ordinance. And he was very sure, but we are concerned about the 4th of July weekend, and I'm also concerned that if we did this, how would it impact the weekend? Would it be negative or positive? Because they'll be riding all over town for celebratory gunfires and all kinds of things. So I would like to see this carried over, but with the enforcement of the scooters and from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., the open container in the entertainment district suspended. And on July 7th, the Economic Development Department, business owners and city departments and the councilors also welcome, as long as we're not a quorum, to come into the meeting. I'll send the information so that we can discuss redefining entertainment districts, because that won't just pertain to downtown, that would pertain to all of them.
Mr. President, I do think one of the things, we're reacting and targeting and looking at the entertainment district, and I understand because of the instance we have. If we pass, even if we were to pass a 60-day closure of the entertainment district, it wouldn't go into effect for, it's like 7 or 10 days until it goes in, so it won't be until after the 4th of July. And secondly, if you go downtown right now, there are people walking, the ordinance has rules to it, and we're not enforcing the rules. That's on us. You're supposed to have it's a green cup. It's supposed to have the receipt that accounts for the drink that's supposed to be in that cup attached to the cup. I was downtown last weekend. There are people that are in businesses that are allowing people to leave their properties with drinks, because we've never been very strict or clear on the enforcement of the actual ordinance itself. And I really want us to be careful and think about this. We have good businesses that are trying, especially in the summertime, where all of us that own businesses that are in the hospitality industry are struggling to make it month by month, because the summer is tough in Montgomery. And so if we're going to do something like that, I want to make sure that we're doing this because we think it's going to help and enhance the experience and keep dollars in downtown, not do this in a way that basically relinquishes our responsibility, our oversight, our governance of how downtown and the entertainment district is supposed to interact, and instead just saying, well, we're not going to have open container. The open container is not the core part of the issue in my mind. I'm not seeing the businesses that are around downtown fueling the issues that are happening. We're having pop-up events that are happening, and Chief has just outlaid how they're trying to respond to them. They're increasing their presence, they're monitoring new cameras, all that type of stuff, while our businesses that are down in that area are still doing good business with the guidance that they have from the city. So I think having discussions about this and refining it, and I think you're right, Councillor Johnson, there are some tweaks that probably could happen, but just going and saying we're going to get rid of the downtown entertainment district for 60 days, I think we should be really sure that that's what we think is, and not just us, Experience Montgomery, the business owners, Main Street, everybody, that's what's in best interest of having a viable downtown.
Mr. President.
Mr. Grimes.
Chief, we got the cameras. I know we put up some new cameras downtown, and that's great. I'm a camera freak. But are we going to have coverage all night during the holidays? Because I know, we're going to have somebody viewing these cameras in the Star Command Center all night during the week?
The cameras are on 24/7.
No, I know the cameras are, but people in the Star Watch Command 24/7.
We put people in the Star Watch Command, and we keep that monitored regularly. So the thing is that there are people watching, and we have people downtown who will be downtown 24/7.
Okay. Second question, to Councillor Szymanski's question: if they don't have the right cup, what are we going to do to them? Just say, pour that out, or you need to leave. What is the penalty for that?
Chief, Mr. Grimes, and I think that's something we need to bring up with the chamber and the hospitality industry and the hotels, because we passed a TID that generated funding to help our police department, help the city police this to enhance the downtown experiment. So we need to have them to the table, because that was what some of this funding was supposed to go to help clean up the curves, get the homeless people from sleeping on the sidewalk. So we need someone to police up the cups, the potential cups. We need to get them involved, because it's always to enhance the experience downtown. So that's something Sharon and we probably need to get together and talk about that as we move this forward. We don't need to put all this on MPD. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Council President, just real quick, I keep hearing close down the entertainment district. I'm looking for, at least from the administrative perspective, what's the definition? Are we just talking about open carry in the downtown entertainment district?
Yes.
Because it gives me pause when I hear shut down. And so you also have to understand there's cameras here that are listening to this conversation. And it may be sensationalized that the council's looking at shutting down the downtown entertainment district.
No,
so we need to be.
That's not what we're talking about.
But to this point, no one has made the delineation that we're just talking about the open carry of alcohol in the downtown entertainment district, so people can get confused. So I just want to make sure that.
Yeah,
that
I
it's
actually
clear.
stated, I may have not said it loud enough, but I did. I stated.
Yeah, I agree with just the open carry.
You did state it.
Open carry?
Not open carry, open container.
Open container.
We can open carry a weapon, but we can't open carry.
Well, you can. You congressionally, yes. I mean, constitutionally, you can carry open carry downtown.
All right, thank you. All right, any more questions on item number 5?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6.
Item 6, ordinance granting a license to Mid-State Signs LLC on behalf of Bethany Church to install a monument sign on existing structure at 722 Cedar Street.
All right, yes, ma'am.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
With respect to this business, referencing Chapter 16, Article 3, Section 1682, Sub A, regulation of grant or renewal of license, this particular account has not renewed for 2025. Of course, there were some extenuating circumstances. In addition, there are outstanding sales taxes on this particular account. We have been unsuccessful in communicating with the owner of this business. And this is a substantial amount of money. The last taxes filed would have been in March of 2023.
Okay. All right.
Mr. President.
Mr. Mitchell?
Mr. Rowe, let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
I have been working with Sheriff Cunningham on some situations, and also Mr. Anderson. Can you explain or tell why are they able to put padlocks on business that owe them money, and we can't even shut down a business that? Where's the authority lacking on our part when the county can do it? I'm baffled.
Right.
I'm just baffled.
Of course, I am not legal counsel. However, in referencing the ordinance, specifically Chapter 16, Article 3, subsection 1690, there are several, this is not the only section of that particular ordinance. Number 1, referencing 1690, it says, and I'm quote, "The provision of this article shall be enforced by licensed inspector," that would be Bob Taylor, okay, or anyone that he extends his authority to, "by whatever name called under the supervision of the revenue administrator." Once again, Ms. Bayville, Bob Taylor. The official shall have the authority to enter any open premises for the purpose of making inspections necessary and carrying out her duties to write citations for violations, to institute criminal proceedings, and here's the clincher, and to require any illegal business or one operating illegally to immediately cease operations in accordance with the city's administrative and/or enforcement procedures. Now, here's the next one. Maybe it drives it on home for you. This one is, 1686, unlawful to engage in business without a license. The second paragraph, because this whole thing has 3 paragraphs, that very second paragraph, it states, any business found to be operating or carrying on business within the city for which the license is required without such license shall be, and I quote, shut down and closed to the public by order of the revenue administrator, period.
So Randy, my interpretation of that, sir, that gives us the legal right to shut down any business in the city of Montgomery that deemed not to have a business license, whether that be padlock, whether it be note on the door. I don't understand why we're not doing it legally.
There are state laws that speak to, and I think the confusion, and once again, I am not an attorney, nor do I practice law. So I want to make that statement, and this is for something for legal counsel to look into. Years ago, we had counsel look into this, and I referenced my emails, of which I maintain. And what came about was the provision for the $50 to the $500 penalty that's imposed. In addition, to take someone to court or to issue a warrant, which is under our code of ordinances speaking to the willfulness. In other words, we told someone to stop. We found out they continued or they didn't stop, which constitutes or could constitute willfulness at that point. That state law is speaking to that because it doesn't say shall impose $50 to $500. It said may. So when you look at our ordinance is explicit. It says what will happen and who will execute those things. And so for the life of me, once again, I'm just, a lowly worker for the city of Montgomery and proud to do it. I do not interpret law, and I'm not giving any legal advice at this particular time. But that snippet in the ordinance says that he has the authority to do it. And I stand down.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for being a valuable employee of the city of Montgomery.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just for clarity, I think what you have to consider is the fact that we really don't have the authority to say a business is operating in a particular structure. That business has a lease or they own the property. We can't deny them access to their property. We can say you can't operate your business out of this property, or you can't operate your business because you don't have a license. But we cannot lock them out necessarily from the property that they own or they have an appropriate lease for. Ergo, you probably would, a cause of action that would be most probable would be, some type of cease and desist petition that could be enforceable through, say, municipal court and or state circuit court. I'd have to look at the law on both, but
we allow people to exercise their due process rights, the business owners. However, let's take a look at what that said. It didn't say we're padlocking anything. It says we're at basically, or the administrator would basically be asking them to do what? Cease and desist, and can have them cease operations. We have signage that we place on the windows, as other counties and cities do, and it says that this, by order of the revenue administrator, this business is hereby shut down until they have met before city council for a rendering.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Still at square one. All right.
Item 7.
Yes, ma'am.
Resolution and omnibus agreement to participate in the Alabama Interlocal Mutual Aid Agreement regarding aid and assistance in the event of disasters.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How y'all doing?
Good.
So Governor Ivey passed a law in his last legislative session that allows us to create a statewide mutual aid agreement similar to what the fire departments do. That is what this is. What it allows us to do is either receive or send resources. So, for example, we send a resource to Birmingham for a disaster. Our fire trucks get in or crash. But Birmingham is not liable for reimbursements for that crash or vice versa. The second thing is if we were to send resources to another jurisdiction, we can now invoice that jurisdiction for our services up front rather than waiting for FEMA reimbursement months or years later if we decide to invoice or just do it in kind service. This is what we do the majority of the time. But that's all this is.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Item 8, application for a restaurant retail liquor license doing business as Wild Crab, 2690 Eastern Boulevard.
It's not on here. It's not on.
You just have it in your packet. You know, it's not on the agenda, so we just move on. We jumped from 7 to 10, but we okay.
Are you gonna look over 8 right now? You
Yes,
guys
ma'am.
have it? Okay.
You got something to tell us about 8? I don't see an issue, so.
You got no issue with that?
Okay, we're owed money.
They owe money?
Yeah.
From Wild Crab or from the person that's leaving?
We can't say that, can we?
Okay, all right, we'll handle that at the regular meeting. Thank
Yeah,
you.
because we can make a connection with the addresses matching on both old and new business, so they're still connected.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next item.
9, application for a restaurant retail liquor license doing business as Taquiero El Campesino, 1550 Mount Meadows Road.
All right, anybody have item 9?
I'm okay.
All right. Next
Are
item.
you okay?
Item 10, application for a lounge retail liquor class 1 license doing business as Aviator Bar, 166 Commerce Street.
Yeah, I'm okay with that as well.
You're in the crosshairs.
Item 11,
They
application.
don't open up to 10.
Item 11, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Bottle Paradise, 1709 Carter Hill Road.
Mr. Samaski.
Yeah, Mr. President, Ms. Blaylock, the owners of the business are meeting with the surrounding neighborhood associations on July 21st. We'd like to carry this to the first meeting in August.
We'll just have to have the public hearing tonight.
That's fine.
Okay. Item 12, application for retail beer and retail table wine on or off premises, doing business as La Trattoria, 503 Cloverdale Road.
Mr. Samaski.
No objections. If you get the chance, it's delicious.
All right.
Item 13, resolution reappointing Stuart Haley's to the Housing Authority.
All right. Norman.
14, designating nuisance abatement agent.
All right.
15 are your standard demolitions and your emergency demolitions. And 16, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
All right, on 15, Council, I want on 3809 Fieldcrest Drive. Mr. Dean. So what? No. The guy just purchased it. I'm cleaning it out, so. We discussed this earlier. I have the owner is making a plan to get to your office on that. I know it was a new purchase, and they have cleaned it out, did all the stuff on the outside, and they got a structure to get to the roof on what they needed to do. They just needed to get inside the building and get all the stuff out there. So we just need an extension on that. I don't want to vote. How you want us to vote it, and then you work it from your office?
I think we spoke with the owner, Councillor Calhoun, and we are in agreement working with the owner.
Okay.
Actually, there was a permit that was pulled, and the timing of getting this on the council agenda and the timing of the plan and the permit was kind of jam. But we are willing to work with the owner and extending, giving them opportunity to remediate this particular property.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Well, all right. Council, I passed out on the library board, we have a couple of appointments on there. One is deceased. One no longer lives in it. We need to make some appointments on the library board because we are in a situation where they don't have a quorum when they meet to conduct business. So I just sent an email to the county. All their appointments need to be reappointed so we can get that board back up in operation. And I sent an email out earlier last week about, looking at our board appointments and making sure we ensure that they attend these meetings so we can conduct the business of the city and the citizens of Montgomery. So we can reach out to our appointments that we have issues with when it comes to attendance to try to talk to them and encourage them to come. I will much appreciate it.
Mr. President,
Ms. Blaylock.
You also need to make them aware that even though their term has expired, they continue to serve until someone is reappointed in their place, until they're reappointed or somebody is appointed in their place.
All right.
That's been the protocol of the council through all the years.
All right, got it. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. What we got?
You got 8 members on the library board for the council, you see?
Yeah, well, we got 8, but we only have 3 that needs to be reappointed.
Yeah, okay. So who makes those appointments?
The council. It's not by district. So we can just come over with some nominations and just put them out there.
You ask somebody to do it?
Yeah. Charlie Jim. All right. Any other items from the council before we go to our public communication?
Mr. President,
Mr. Grimes.
National Night Out is upon us, and I think everybody's may have been done. I know that Wesley Richardson Sheriff's Department was trying to do something citywide in October when the temperatures were a little cooler. Where are we at? Are we going to do that, or what's the plan?
He emailed me on it. I don't know if he emailed the total council. I'm kind of in agreement when to move it back in October. Where can we do it citywide? And that's something, man, be so hot during the months.
I agree.
Yeah, I thought it was confirmed. He did send an email out to everyone, and it's for October the 16th from 5 to 7, all this parking lot in East Chase.
Okay.
And it's all confirmed. I can send it to Brenda so she can push it back up in everyone's email.
All right, we'll do that. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, in our work session, communication, Diane Duke. Public transportation. I think Cody Calhoun and Sam scared. Ms. Duke. Ms. Diane. Center mic. Speaking on public transportation problems.
Good afternoon, Council.
Good afternoon.
I'm new here, and I'm not familiar with the form or anything, so forgive me.
All right. Let me help you out. You have 3 minutes.
Okay.
And you're talking about public transportation problems, so you just address the council, what's your concern? And just
So what I have to say is that on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, I saw something that was very devastating to me, and I hope I never see it again. I had to use the Route 1 to get to an appointment that was very much needed. I caught the Route 1 at the intermodal station, and to my surprise and to my astonishment, when I walked into the shuttle, I noticed that there were only 6 seats and the rest was metal floor. And on the metal floor were sitting 6 to 8 gentlemen, crisscross applesauce, to get to their destination. A gentleman was kind enough, because I was the last female to get on that shuttle, to get up and give me his seat. I feel, first of all, mainly that the federal regulations state that public transportation should provide a secure and safe method of transporting their residents. I don't blame the bus driver. She did a fabulous duty of driving the bus with no serious twists and turns and so forth. I don't blame the first line supervisors that evidently had a mandate coming from a higher up management to say you got to get these passengers through, you got to get them out. I don't blame them. What I see is poor top management. Something's going wrong here that you don't see what's happening to your citizens. This is unconscionable that you find men sitting on a metal floor trying to get to their destination. I had to get to an appointment. I had to ride that bus. I'm thankful for that young man or that man that allowed me to have his seat while he sat on that metal floor. I'm not the kind of person that would take a video and say, hey, social media, I got one for you. And embarrass not only maybe the people there, but embarrass me for being a resident that allows this to happen. So I get my 3 minutes. This is basically what I wanted to say. I hope I never see it again. I think that you guys should know about planning, budgeting, forecasting, and getting in there, getting grants, and finding some politicians that'll help you out to get all the way up to the mayor, maybe to the governor, to say, where's my share of federal funding, so that these buses can run and be adequate and decent for people, not a humiliation. Not a humiliation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'm sorry, and could you speak up? As you can see, I'm loud.
Ms. D, I invited the MAX director and assistant director here, operation manager, so they will speak with you outside to talk about what you just talked to the council, and they can help you rectify that problem.
Okay, I will.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right. Yeah, they in here. Mr. Jonathan Robertson, observation, sir. Yeah, 1 minute.
Good evening. How y'all doing? So I've been tasked with delivering a report for these board and commission meetings I've been attending since September.
Okay.
And I'm going to start by saying the overall consensus behind all of these meetings is being okay with just being okay. And that's not okay to me. I'm not sure if that's okay to y'all. But after I get done with my report, I think y'all will understand where I'm coming from.
Okay.
So I will start with the Housing Authority. They meet on the 4th Tuesday of every month. And like I said, I've been attending this meeting monthly since September. And with the Housing Board, with every meeting I have attended, there has never been every board member in attendance. And that goes back to September. At the most recent meeting that I have attended, which was the one at the end of May, there wasn't even a quorum. And so that's why I say it's not okay to just be okay. Not for the citizens of Montgomery, and not for the citizens that live in the state of Alabama. That is not okay. And so now I will move on to the water and sewer board, which those meetings occur on the 2nd Tuesday of every month, and they are supposed to begin at 1:15 p.m. However, they have been beginning at 1 o'clock p.m. and ending by 1:15 p.m. That is a 15-minute meeting. Again, that shows a common collective opinion that they're okay with being okay. Because a 15-minute meeting, if you're only meeting once monthly, there is no efficient or productive work done in 15 minutes. I don't care what entity that is. I don't care where that is. I don't care what the age group is. 15 minutes is not enough time to do anything, especially for a municipality. So I would now move on to the Airport Authority. The Airport Authority meets on the 2nd Tuesday of every month as well at 4:15. The Airport Authority has missed out on funding that would be vital to revitalizing the east ramp of the airport, as well as doing renovations to the runway, which is in vast need of repairs. And I attended a meeting, one of the first meetings I attended, they said that they were seeking grant money for those repairs. The next meeting I attended, they said that they were no longer seeking the grant money and didn't disclose a reason for not seeking this money. Again, that's okay with being okay. If you have recognized that there are repairs that need to be done and then you just decide not to do these repairs or not even try to go after this funding, that's okay with being okay. And I also want to go back to the Water and Sewer Board, who decided to not pursue federal funding because they didn't want to be held to the fire with the federal guidelines. Again, that is okay with being okay, and that is not operating the way the citizens need operations to go, the way the council sees these entities working. That is not aligned with the mayor's vision. That doesn't align with the council's vision. And it's just, I have attended these meetings since September for all of these entities, and it's just not okay. And I'm tired of seeing these commissions being okay with being okay. And that's my report.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Moore? Anyone?
Okay.
All right.
I'm okay.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
I'm okay to be okay.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Work session is adjourned.